Welcome to Replenish the Atmosphere of Discovery, where we discover the Master's plan for our lives. Today's session is on confronting mindsets. Your mindset is a set of habitual attitudes and beliefs that creates the state that your mind remains in. Some mindsets you are born with, and others you develop over time. You develop them through your experiences, some traumatic experience, some wonderful experiences, some in between. But these actually form your mindset. And your mindset is also shaped based on your strengths and weaknesses, your life experiences, like I said, and your innate personality. And so there are many ways of thinking in any given mindset. There are many trains of thoughts for different scenarios. And it's our job to face them to determine which are beneficial and which are harmful to us. So we don't just go with whatever mindset everybody in our family has. It's our job to determine, hey, is this mindset beneficial to me or is it harming me? So we can be convinced to continue having a certain mindset because it's comfortable or it appears to be rewarding. But being comfortable is not synonymous with being beneficial. Comfort is one of the reasons why we don't change or challenge our mindsets because we're comfortable, we're complacent with how we are. When something is attractive or fascinating to us, we don't challenge its usefulness. And it continues to draw us into complacency with this false sense of peace because we're comfortable. So being comfortable in a certain mindset does not mean that you are whole. Challenge your comforts. I want you to challenge your comforts. Assess their value to your overall well-being, your mental health, your spiritual health, your emotions, your finances, your physical body. Assess their value to your overall well-being and see, is this benefiting me or is this harming me? So trust is an issue when dealing with our comforts. We trust what we love, even if what we love is not benefiting us. Our expectations and what we trust is sometimes out of place because we don't want to confront our comfort. We don't want to challenge the things that make us feel good. So trust isn't always comfortable because as we learn, sometimes we have to raise our expectations in some areas and lower them in other areas. But the goal is to place those expectations in the right place, which you can only do with the right mindset. So this requires discipline. This requires focus to do this. Self-discipline requires for you to obey standards that may cause for you to be uncomfortable at times, but it is for your wholeness. It is for you being well in your entire being. Your mindset influences your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors, which affects your personality and character. So your mindset is directly related to how you are. It determines how you view the world. It also can alter how you frame the world that you have the power to frame. But if our mindsets are flawed, then our lives will be a manifestation of that flawed mindset. And so we often think that changing our perspective is something bad. When we are criticized about areas that we need to build up or get better in, we get offended instead of changing. So addressing the areas that you need to change is challenging who you have become when that's not you. It's a challenge. It's challenging this alternative personality or this other representative that is not really who you are. And so you get offended when someone challenges that when it's really changing you into who you need to be. So address the changes that you need to make. Stop just existing. We talked about this last week. Stop just existing and live. Stop just surviving and begin to experience the joys that this life has to offer. We got to start changing the way we think. So sometimes we get so used to people and systems that cause brokenness that we become very uncomfortable with the people and the systems that are beneficial to us. We get used to being broken, getting used to being mishandled. And so we seek to find fault in it and we push away from it because we're uncomfortable. That doesn't mean it's not beneficial. A lot of you have to go through that uncomfortable stage of letting the right people in after you've kicked the wrong people out. Like if you can build up the courage to set those boundaries and get rid of those people that are not beneficial to you, you have to go through that uncomfortable stage of letting the right people in. You can have some support as you go on this journey. These new people won't have the same perspectives as you, right? You've changed your circle. So you have to get used to that. And your instinct will be to reject it because they don't move the same way your comfortable circle moved, but the comfortable circle wasn't beneficial to you. And so this is going to be new for you. You're returning back to your original God influenced mindset. And it calls for you to blend that new mindset with your new reality in your new environment. When learning to operate from a different perspective, you will have the challenge of navigating criticism. We did a whole session on that, on navigating criticism. You have to learn to be okay with the opinions, the judgment, even disapproval of other people as you walk in this new mindset. Responding from a well-trained mind instead of just responding from your feelings like you did with the old mindset. We're growing. Once we discover who God has created us to be and who we are embracing that. We're not returning back to the old way that was not benefiting us and not benefiting the world. So your mindsets have shaped your entire world. They have shaped your friendships. They shape who you choose to marry. It shapes your relationship with God, your career or your lack of career, where you live, your perspectives, how you view everyone, how you view every event, every experience you have. Your mindset shapes these things. And so if your mindset has been a negative influence in your life, you first have to make the decision to change. Everybody else around you can tell you need to change, but you have to make the decision to change, to do the work, to maintain that consistency until those changes become habits, and then the habits become engrafted into your character. And once it becomes a habit, you can do it without thinking. You can do it with less effort. So check your negative thoughts, your negative feelings, your negative behaviors and habits. If you don't think you have any, ask somebody. And instead of being offended, challenge yourself to check your mindset. Is this beneficial to my whole being? Remember, we're not just going to focus on one part like we do when we're in survival mode. We want a mindset that is beneficial to every part of us. So those fixed mindsets, those mindsets that don't want to change, they trap you and they make you feel offended and defensive. And in those fixed mindset, you are supporting those self-limiting attitudes. So broken or flawed mindsets, they don't produce positive outcomes. They only produce chaos. They only produce a false sense of peace. They only produce you being isolated from the people that were created to help you and to further you in your purpose. Positive mindsets or ones that benefit you, it includes effort. It's going to require some effort to have a positive mindset. It's going to require grace, grace for other people, grace for yourself. It's going to require peace. You have to choose peace. Sometimes you have to chase peace, but it's going to require peace. It's also going to require failure, but failure that result in you learning a lesson. Not just failing to be failing because you keep making poor decisions, but failures because you needed to learn that lesson. It's also going to produce challenges. You're going to have challenges. You're also going to have to do things that you don't want to do, things that make you feel uncomfortable. It's also going to require forgiveness. You're going to have to let people and situations go. You're going to have to just let them go because the mindsets attached to those things and those people is keeping you in this negative perspective and this negative point of view that you cannot get out of, and it's keeping you boxed in. So your flawed belief system makes you believe that you are the way you think. Your flawed belief system makes you believe that you are the way that you think, but you don't have to become your thoughts that were perceived through a negative mindset. Remember, it's not God's ordained influenced mindset for you. This came about from your life experiences. And some of those experiences were horrible. And some people can go through horrible experiences and still maintain a stable mindset, a beneficial mindset. Other people can't. And so when you are operating from a mindset that is not who you were created to be, then you will automatically think that this is the way that I have to be. But the thoughts are happening because of the mindset. So you don't have to embrace every single feeling that you have. Some of those feelings you can throw away, and you can control your own behavior. So you have to stop blaming other people for your lack of self-control. You need to change your mindsets to stop believing that you don't have self-control and that it's everybody else's fault for your behavior and your decisions. That's a mindset. The victim mentality, that is a mindset that people have adopted. So you've made these poor decisions because of the broken perspective, because of the broken mindset. And when it doesn't go the way that you planned it to go, it's everybody else's fault. So your opinion of you, your opinion of yourself may even be flawed. And that's why we should not throw away all criticism, because some criticism is constructive. Some criticism is beneficial to us changing out of those old mindsets and then graduating into one that is beneficial. And whatever is beneficial to us, it in turn makes us be beneficial to the world. So when you cannot regulate your emotions, your opinions are not based on the truth. If you are a person that cannot regulate your own emotions, your opinions are not based on the truth, because you don't care about the truth. No matter how much information you may have, you only care about your opinion that is based on that flawed perspective, right? On that negative mindset. And somebody on the outside can be giving you facts, real facts, but it doesn't matter because your opinion is rooted in your unmanaged emotions. Okay. When your mind is sound and your emotions are regulated, you review the facts before forming an opinion. Okay. Before accepting the feeling, you review the facts. So the next time somebody gives you facts that contradict what you believe, I challenge you to review the facts before you form an opinion, no matter how uncomfortable it makes you feel. Don't go into your emotions until you have assessed the information from a sound mind. And so this is how you begin to break the habit of responding without thinking and having to apologize and having to repent. We are supposed to have a sound mind. We are supposed to be quick to hear and slow to speak. And so I'm not talking about moral issues. So I hope that you built up your foundational principles and you're set on that. You're solid on that. Don't allow anyone to change your moral compass if it's the standard based on God. Don't allow anyone to change or challenge your moral compass. I'm talking about matters that have created these unhealthy cycles because of the way you think, feel, and behave. These are the things that you want to assess before you form an opinion, before you give in to a feeling. You want to assess the facts before you give an opinion. The way you go from a negative mindset to a positive mindset is, like I said, by first being willing to change your perspective, which is accepting that your view isn't always the best view. And your view isn't even always right for you. If you are not willing to change your perspective, you're not ready to change your mindset. Everybody around you can want you to do it. And you cannot do it because they want you to. You have to do it because you genuinely want to change. You genuinely want to see a difference happen, and you are willing to put in the effort that is required. Our mindsets will bind us to defeat. Our mindsets will bind us to failure and lack. And it's not just a mind thing. The cells in our bodies begin to become what we feel. And so we have to teach our body who we are and whose we are. So we have to tell our body to get in line with its created purpose. Do what you are supposed to do. You tell your heart, your liver, your lungs, your bones, your muscles, your mind, right? Get it straight. Do what you were created to do. Defeat, failure, and lack comes from a poverty mindset. Okay. You have to confront that poverty mindset to get to the abundance mindset. You have to stop accepting the bare minimum from yourself and from others and from life. And if you are, you're probably in survival mode. People with a poverty mindset always view the world from an insufficient perspective. They never have what they need. They never take risks because they're afraid that they'll lose the little bit that they have. They think they don't have enough education. They don't have enough status. They don't have enough courage. They don't have enough faith. They don't have enough influence. They don't have enough value. They always don't have enough of something. Everything is insufficient in their minds and limited. But an abundance mindset says that it doesn't matter what I don't have. I'm going to use what I do have. They believe that there is more than enough because they serve a God that is all powerful, owns all the things, and knows everything. And so the sky isn't the limit for somebody that has an abundance mindset. The sky is like the floor, like I'm standing on top of the sky. They cannot be boxed in, they cannot be stopped. They don't see roadblocks and closed doors. They see detours and fire escapes and windows, okay? There's always a way in or around, and they're going to find it. This is how you know when you move from that poverty mindset to an abundance mindset. When you view the world without limitations, because we put limits on ourselves, we put limits on others, we put limits on our dreams, on our goals, we put limits on it. When you view the world without those limitations, your ideas are bigger. You are motivated by the unknown instead of being fearful of the unknown. Your resilience becomes unmatched. Okay. You go out and you do and you try. So, in this, your brain can help you or hurt you depending on how you train it. You have to train yourself to think a certain way. You have to train yourself to not be in your feelings. Your brain can help or hurt you depending on how you train it. Another word for that is depending on how you renew it. Okay. And so we talked about being in survival mode last week. Your brain is wired to handle the challenges that you see first. It's not wired to make sure you're whole in every area. You have to train it to do that. Your brain is wired to defend your mindsets, even if they're jacked up. You have to train it to evaluate the facts, and then you make your mind work for your benefit. It's not going to do it on its own. It's only going to focus on one part, and that's the part that it believes that's in trouble, which is determined by your mindset, by your perspective. It's not wired to do that if it hasn't been trained that way from your upbringing. And most of us were not trained that way because our parents didn't know. But now that we know, what are we going to do with what we know? We have to train our brain. We have to direct our thoughts. I mean, some people don't even know that they can control what they think. They think that they just have to think a certain way. No, you determine the train of thought that you're on. You determine how you feel by managing your thoughts, which when you manage your thoughts, you manage your feelings, which will manage what you do. So your subconscious mind will fight you about making a change. If you ever wondered why it was so hard, maybe you want to change, but your subconscious mind will fight you about making a change. There are habits that you have that operate in the subconscious region of your mind, not just the ones you know about. So you got the habits and the ways that you know about, but you have habits that you don't even know you have. And spiritually, we call these things strongholds. These are barriers that we cannot see while we're awake. Other people see it. And when they tell us about it, we label it as judgment or criticism. But guess where else it shows up? It shows up in your dreams. Your dreams will reveal most of the hidden information about you that you refuse to accept or simply cannot see in your waking life. So you can have this thought or feeling that you want to change, you know something is off, but until your subconscious has been reconciled, it would resist every change you are trying to make. So this is where you have to find the root. You got to get to the bottom of it, and you have to be willing to let someone go where it hurts. You have to be willing to allow God to pull out those strongholds and let you face them and confront them so that you can make the decision to change them. So we have to seek to build mental strength that empowers us to maintain a mindset that grows as we grow. We want to progress. We don't want to stay in the same place. And we definitely don't want to go backwards. A mindset that enables you to be emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually sound by giving you the ability to regulate each area and keep it balanced. So you have to stay connected to a evolving support system. If they're standing still, if they are promoting you to stand still, if they're wasting your time, that is not an evolving support system. Okay? You have to get with a evolving support system that isn't complacent, that doesn't enable mediocrity. They want you to be and push you to be the best version of yourself. So if you desire to move forward, to move in the direction towards a new mindset, you have to begin by confronting or challenging your comforts. That's the first step. Confront your comforts. Once you confront your comforts, you start breaking that habitual thinking, those habitual feelings and behaviors. This means erasing them, not suppressing them. There's a difference. If you erase them, you're not going to do it anymore. We also call this repentance. You have to start breaking these things. And then you develop a new train of thought. You create positive feelings in place of the negative ones. This is the renewed mind part. And then you establish new behaviors. And it must be your desire for yourself. If you only want to change because somebody else wants you to, but you don't really think you should, it will not work. And if you know that's what you're doing, that's called manipulation. And then finally, being consistent with those changes. This means every day you're making decisions based on your new mindset, not your old, until it turns into a habit and it becomes engrafted into your subconscious mind, so that you're doing it as the days go on and you continue to make those decisions with your new mindset. As the days go on, it requires less effort. It's the same way, like when you learn how to drive, you really focused on the brake. You really focused on how many turns it takes to turn the corner. But before long, after doing it for so long, you get from point A to point B. You don't know how you got there. You don't know how many times you pushed it. You don't know, because now this has been engrafted into your subconscious mind. So it's the same concept. Be willing and be ready. If you're not willing, if you're not ready, I don't care how bad you want to change, you will not do it. You're going to have every excuse. You're going to blame everybody. You're going to blame your mom, your dad. You're going to blame every traumatic event in your life. So you have to be willing and ready. Without your voluntary willingness, this will not happen for you. You will not change your mindset. You must get to the place where you desire to change and you're willing to make the unconscious conscious. And you're willing to make this decision however many times for however many days, to put the effort in confronting, breaking, and developing new thoughts, new feelings, and behaviors that will benefit your whole being. If you have these negative mindsets, and it's any mindset that is not benefiting you, even if someone else acts the same way and have the same behaviors and it appears that it's benefiting them, that does not mean that it's benefiting you. If you look at every area of your life, the mindset that works for you benefits every area of your life, okay? Not just one area. And so that's how things that our parents did can get transferred down, because we're going to do the same thing that they did, or we'll do the complete opposite. That's normally what happens. And so you have to face those comforts. If you don't like how your life is, it's because of the way you think. Face the things that are comfortable for you. Challenge them, okay? And then start with the way you think. When you find yourself thinking the way that you don't want to think, stop it. Put another thought there. When you find yourself feeling a way you don't want to feel, stop it. Decide to feel something different. When you begin behaving a certain way and you don't like it, stop it and do something different. Okay. And it's nobody else's fault because we each have our own will. We each have our own will and we each have the ability to change our minds. We must make our mind work for us. Okay. So, and then you want to be consistent in that. It doesn't work if you do it for 2 days and then you stop. You must be consistent. And when you notice that you're not being consistent, that's what that evolving support group is for, right? They're going to hold you accountable. They're not going to be the same group that just lets you keep going, seeing you destroying yourself, destroying your life, not fulfilling your creative purpose. They're not going to let you be complacent in that. And so a lot of times we don't even realize the people around us is not benefiting us. But because they've been my friend for 15, 20 years, because it's grandma, we don't want to set boundaries. And then you can't blame the person that you are keeping there, knowing that their mindset has rubbed off on you and you're trying to change your mindset, but you want to continue to keep those people around. You can be cordial, you can speak, but you need to set some boundaries on how much access that they have to you. Or you're going to keep basically relapsing and going back. It's going to make it harder. So you get around people that have the mindset you want to have. That's what you want to rub off on you. But you first must want to change and then be willing to put forth the effort to change. And so that concludes our session for today, confronting mindsets. And I hope that you all have heard something that was beneficial to you. Hopefully, it will call you to act, not just hear me and say, oh, that was pretty good. And you click off and your world stays the same. This is the time for you to change your life. And it starts by you changing the way you think, changing the way you feel, changing the way that you act. It starts with you. All the events in your life that have happened, all the experiences you've had, you take what you can learn from them, and the other stuff, you throw it away. Once you overcome it, you can tell it as a testimony, but you don't use that to be your crutch to not challenge your mindsets. Okay? Challenge them. If they're not benefiting you, be willing to change. Okay, this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to evolve. We're supposed to grow. We're not supposed to stay weak in the areas that we're weak. It's supposed to progress. It's supposed to grow. It's supposed to turn into a strength. And so I hope that you all receive something and I hope that you all apply what you receive.